When it comes to matches that go down in history, it's not surprising. When you quantify the skills that Total possesses, Inoue is the better choice.
Hold your skills.
That's what I think, but Inoue could also go down, so I really don't know what's gonna happen. Nakaya is also studying Inoue very carefully, and he's working on closing the distance punch by punch. If Nakaya wins...
That's right. In the featherweight class, I think the patterns for the top fighters like Inoue are not that different. And if it comes down to a close decision, I think it could go either way. I think the next match will be interesting for both of them.
Even if Dachi has the advantage, I think Tenshin will win. I just like his style, so I'm rooting for Take. But still, if the left body shot lands clean, it could turn things around. So I want to see how that plays out. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to it.
From the very first 3 minutes,
There were 3 minutes as well, right?
with Yaman player, or...
With Yachi too.
It started out like that, didn't it?
But I thought even if we pushed hard for 3 minutes, it would be tough. Even so, you seemed completely calm. Are you okay? Did you feel like you were the strongest one out there?
Takara-san seems to be holding back, but the way he punches, he really knows what he's doing. The way he throws punches as a boxer, it's just...
Oh, that's how it is.
He had power and speed too.
Mr. Taji.
And, you know, Mr. Ines, the host, was really strong, and Mr. Yaichi was heavy too.
I thought Yachi was really heavy, but honestly, if you take a hit like that, you'll probably go down in no time.
No matter how heavy you are, if you get knocked down by a body shot at that level, you're still a fighter, you know? Even the top fighters before this have gone down like that.
Even the world champion from China, who was considered the best in the world, was knocked down by a body shot in the end. In heavier weight classes, body shots are more likely to take you down compared to headshots, unlike in lighter divisions. It's probably because there's more muscle on top.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
I think my defensive ability is definitely higher than the other players.
Well, there are some good things too.
I think that's true.
Well, for example, when Mino-san got better and became cheerful.
Bravo.
I think that's probably because the medicine is starting to work.
Geez, when I first started on debut, I could only lift about 286 pounds once. My body... Now it's only about 253.531 pounds, so I really feel like my body has changed a lot. Whether I can feel it or not, and even the sensation itself. It's just like this. If I didn't have any defense, I think it would probably hurt a lot more.
I don't want to say it was really painful, but honestly, at one point I dropped from heavyweight to beginner level. Isn't it? In that match, my body was completely worn out.
I don't really remember.
Well, that's true, but how did you feel about it? Did you feel lighter, or did you feel like your absorption power was down? Like, was your damage absorption lower, or did you feel like your body weight just dropped?
That's right. Now that I think about how I was cutting weight, it had been a long time since I had to cut weight, and the period was a bit shorter, so there were some strange feelings in the middle of it. But that's something every athlete goes through, and I thought maybe I should have adjusted my method a little bit. But as I kept cutting weight, I could feel my body changing. Both the way you gain and the way you lose weight.
When I ask which one is better, it's a bit of a silly question, but is it more like heavyweight or more like a brawler?
For me personally, I bring out my potential starting from the cruiserweight class up to the light heavyweight class. As a former amateur boxer, I believe my abilities are best suited for that weight class. However, in the heavyweight division, the fights are on another level. Each has its own merits, and I think I've been working hard for both. But now, my ideal is to find a way to combine the two.
That's the image I have. You have to choose only one rank, right? That's how it is.
But that's not in this year's plan yet. For now, I'll try playing in the professional league once, and then I'll try playing in that class of bridge baseball once as well. At that time, I feel like I'm in even better shape than before. So after I compete in the bridger class, if I feel like I can also compete in the cruiser class, I'll take on that challenge too.
So just to confirm, what is the weight for the bridger class? It's around 224.92 pounds, right?
Since it's 224.92 pounds, I don't really want to push myself with things like water cutting just to make the 102 kilogram limit.
That's right. For the bridger class, I don't need to cut water. Just a little bit of dietary restriction should be enough.
Yeah, just a little dietary restriction, increasing amino acids and things like that, and I think I can go into the match at about the same weight as my walking around weight. I saw some footage from the amateur era, but is that really how it is? Or has it changed a lot since then? Did you eat anything you wanted, or did you intentionally try to gain weight and become a heavyweight boxer?
That's right. In the amateurs, I was fighting in the heaviest weight class among the amateur divisions. So in amateur boxing, if you don't drop down to that weight class, you can't compete in matches. So I was kind of stuck there.
That's how it is, yeah.
I really struggled with it, but originally, if you don't stand out or make it to the finals, you can't go pro. So that's where it really matters. It was either middleweight or heavyweight class. The selection is for new Japanese pros. Even Wang only made it to the middleweight class, and the rankings usually only go up to middleweight. So if you go to heavyweight, in the past, there were only a few Japanese who ever made it that far. For Japanese, making it to middleweight is already almost impossible, so I thought I'd try fighting once at heavyweight. What I'm talking about is the plan for when I was going to become a pro.
Aiming to go pro.
Since I'm between middleweight and heavyweight, I don't fit into either the light heavyweight or heavyweight categories, even if my ranking isn't high.
And the fighters end up alone.
Yeah.
At that time, there were a few people around beyond, but I felt like Midori was all alone. There was no ranking, and when that happens, you have to debut. So it took a lot of effort to establish a new ranking, and that's how things are now. And as long as you're active to a certain extent and keep moving up the ranks from there, it seems like they'll recognize you as a new cruiserweight or something like that.
That's what I think, I guess.
From the amateur era, I got the impression that you suddenly shot up and transformed into a heavyweight. But actually, it feels more like you gradually drop back down and return to your original weight, doesn't it?
My natural weight was around 220 pounds, and my last amateur match was at 178 pounds. Then I went up to 224.92 pounds and cut down to 178 pounds to compete as an amateur. So that was really tough for me. But I think my natural weight is usually around 220 pounds, give or take. That's why even now, I sometimes try to get my body back to that weight. If I can do that, I feel like I could even compete at a cruiserweight level.
Isn't it hard to move? In boxing training, it's actually tough to keep your weight up, isn't it? Or is that not the case? In the end, it's probably more like...
When it comes to the amino acid components in running, that's actually a really important part to keep shaping up your body. Or I think. That's right. If you do boxing, you can do it, but it's moving with less energy than usual, so it's getting better. That's not it.
Move comfortably without getting tired the way you move.
Master it, and then rather than burning calories in boxing, it's probably more like running.
There is.
When it comes to aerobic exercise, I wonder if specializing in a particular type really makes a difference. That's what I think.
But honestly, I don't force myself to eat something I don't like or anything like that. I just don't.
Initially, I was far from being a heavyweight. Today's top-level heavyweight players average around 264.55 pounds. While I was thinking that if I had about 220 pounds in my stomach, I could just press it lightly and it would be so soft that I wouldn't be able to do anything even if I got on top of it. While I was imagining fighting someone like Jaw Heavy, who is famous for doing things like debut tours or kicks, or Mark Hunt in the middle of a match.
Also in boxing,
He continues winning against strong opponents. Is that the image you envision? In my mind,
And finally,
initially I focused on learning body movement and fighting techniques by imitating others.
I'm not very tall, but I do have some speed, don't I?
that's pretty much it.
Mark Hunt isn't that big either, but it's not an exaggeration to say he doesn't have a heavyweight body overall, you know? Andy Ruiz's build reminds me of something. When I see Mr. Miwa's boxing, it's kind of like that. Exactly. Even with hand speed, you can see the structure in boxing, right?
Yeah, I watch it. Boxing. Boxing. And not just kick-a. This channel too. Always watching.
Thank you very much. I'm happy. I don't really watch kick either.
I like kick too, but I want to be the number one player. Originally, I wanted to be number one, so that's why I started boxing. Exactly. I started boxing when I was in high school, so... Up until then, I was doing karate. I was doing taekwondo too.
Taekwondo.
That's right. When I was in junior high school, I was really into K1, and when I saw the healing faction on television winning, I was inspired and thought I wanted to start boxing, so I started boxing in high school.
It says that Naruhodo ne Wikipedia was also doing karate, but I don't know exactly when during that period.
That's right, but actually, I only joined the dojo for about 3 months at first, so it was just for a short period of time.
Was that Kyokushin karate?
No, it was Shotokan.
Is the Shito Ryu style, right? And that's the style my father practiced. Why do you ask?
That's right. Single mother families exist, and daycare isn't always accessible. Mothers are busy, and it's not just about work.
Yes.
It means that you start to focus on protecting yourself, and when I asked about it later, that's what it meant. Hodoya Okasan.
When I was 3 years old, my mother was Brazilian and my father was Japanese. Is it more like a blend of Brazilian and Japanese? How did that happen? So my mother came to Japan because of the circumstances.
I don't really know much about the story before I was born.
That's how it is.
My father in Brazil met.
We came straight to Japan.
He got me pregnant, and when I was about 3 months along, my father passed away. Since then, it's just been my mother and me.
In the end, it wasn't such a big deal.
Was it a life as wonderful as your mother's, or not?
I think so. At that time, I was still in Japan, so I guess that's why.
That's right. I wonder why I stayed behind. If I had gone, things might have been different. My mom's family was also there, and I think it was probably more fun that way. But the reason I stayed in Japan is because Japan is better for me.
Education.
Because I thought Japan could provide a better education for me, to be honest.
I'm not really sure, but I don't think it was that hard. I guess Japanese wasn't that difficult for me either.
Yeah, I still don't really get it even now.
Yeah, that's amazing. What kind of work did you do, if you don't mind me asking? Was it with your mom?
It's probably Aichi Prefecture.
Yeah.
There are a lot of car factories. There are. So it's normal there. People work in factories, doing line work.
Do it.
And Mama's group is the only woman. Everyone else is a man. From 8 in the morning to 8 at night every day from Monday to Saturday.
It was tough. That lifestyle is pretty intense, so ending up empty-handed isn't surprising. Was it different from a regular school? Was life at that school below standard? Was it tough because half the students were Brazilians and half were Japanese?
That's right. Even now, I'm still half and half culturally. Time has changed, and so has the number of people. Understanding of it is increasing, but it's not fully accepted yet. However, at that time, it wasn't. There were only 1 or 2 people like that in each grade. Because I was a foreigner, people treated me a little differently and kept their distance.
Or something like that.
That's something I remember, but honestly, it wasn't a big deal, just a normal childhood. It didn't really feel like that at all.
That's how it is, isn't it? There are people who are really tough, but honestly, I liked being empty-handed. I liked both being empty-handed and playing with toy swords. How about you?
I naturally loved karate from the start.
Every time I went,
I really felt like I was being forced to go. But I did enjoy the time with my friends. I think there are people who can relate to doing karate. I didn't really like the time spent on basics, but I loved the time spent on kumite.
Cool.
I liked it from then on. After I encountered taekwondo, I got completely absorbed in it.
definitely. Boxing is what I'm most focused on.
That's right. I know it's better to kick, but actually...
That's right. Everyone who knows you thinks you're really fast even now, and still...
I'm really surprised. Actually, no, it's not really like a high kick at all.
Yes, I understand, but it's not really that surprising, is it? I mean, it's not like my physical abilities are that amazing. Maybe it's just the way it looks, but when I saw you, Mr. ISO, you seemed really short. Is that right? It kind of felt like you were being thrown or flying.
That's right, but I'm not sure if that's really the case. Maybe not.
I think it might be because I have some Brazilian blood in me. Do you think that has anything to do with it?
Well, I wonder why that is, but even among all the athletes with mixed heritage, you really have that vibe.
It's not just about being a hybrid, though.
That's how I feel, at least for myself.
Shinichi.
If I can express both the good points of traditional Japanese storytelling and the good points of Brazilian storytelling, well, I would be happy.
Even though he's a Japanese heavyweight boxer, his movements are different from Mr. Miyagi's, so he's not just a typical Japanese boxer, he's really more of a fighter.
I think there are definitely people around the world who believe that being fundamentally amazing or inherently strong is something you're just born with, and that it's just a matter of luck. In terms of flavor, I think people see me as a hybrid type of boxer, and they also notice that I have a lot of different skills, so I'm looking forward to showing even more of that from now on.
Are you brothers?
Are you siblings? I have an older sister. I also have an older sister.
Do you live in Japan?
Yes, she lives in Japan. She's 7 years older than me. Is she nice? Yes, she is nice. When I was little, my mother was busy, so my older sister often took care of me.
Despite the difficulties, she took care of me, proving she's a great sister.
Yeah, I think so too.
Are you here to try out or watch? Did your sister come just to see you? Or did she say she didn't want to be seen?
Actually, it's more like my mom comes to watch.
Ma,
Seems like Ma doesn't really watch. I have it now, but will you come to see me? After becoming a pro, I haven't really had much time during amateur days, but after turning pro, I've been coming to the venue almost every time.
that's amazing. Now that you're married, are you thinking about having children, or are you still not sure? If you do have children, will you let them do boxing?
That's right. It's a difficult question. The only thing I can confidently teach is something that's not dangerous. Taku-san knows about that side too, so I can teach it once, but when I thought about whether I could let someone live their life with that, I hesitated. Maybe I don't have an answer.
Maybe it's because Papa is a boxer. Maybe I just don't want to do it. That's probably the conclusion I've come to. Even as a girl, I have more of that feeling. Looking at the pattern, it seems hard, and that's it, right?
What about karate? Starting from karate, that's what a boxer does. Isn't that unusual?
I think it's really cute.
I think so.
Bringing gifts when meeting someone is a custom not only influenced by overseas practices, but also followed by people from abroad.
Is that so?
I can understand that, and as I grow up, they teach me what's important.
This martial art, you know.
I really think it's great.
That's right. There are also things related to karate, so I really feel that way. Karate really focuses on those kind of things.
It's not just about karate, but also about people.
That's what I mean. I also focus on that. Boxing gym doesn't mean something bad like trying to turn someone into a boxer. Rather, I want to make it clear that it's not meant in a negative way. Instead, it's more about nurturing boxers.
It's good to say that, since it heads in that direction. And there are similar things, but that's how it is.
I don't really know what kind of life Kayaria will have after her career ends. So when I found myself in a situation where I had to make a decision, I would go to a Japanese boxing gym, train during my usual free time when I felt like it, and try to coordinate my schedule with the trainer to practice and finish up. With karate and such, the training times are set and everyone gathers together. The group gathers and practices together. I think there are a lot of styles where everyone practices together and finishes as a group.
Yeah, that's right.
So Bokushingu, do you think that's a style unique to Japan? Like, everyone gathers as a team, starts practice together, and finishes at the same time. Or isn't it less common to see that kind of style overseas, like in America?
It's a team, yes, a team.
Yes. Even if you move as a class, or even if you include boxing, even professional boxing.
More?
I wonder if it won't really have much of an effect, or at least that's what I think.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's the time of the program or the system itself. Honestly, I don't really know.
That's right. But basically, boxing doesn't really have much of that. Compared to other martial arts, it's probably the least affected. Kike has a set time for the program.
Yeah, right there.
So I don't think it's the best to just gather everyone and practice without any real focus.
Is that just the culture, or is it something like that?
I believe it's part of the culture, especially overseas. However, I feel that image is changing in places like Russia and elsewhere.
Still.
The main players and their training support staff primarily practiced and finished, rather than everyone gathering together.
A trainer was present and would assign tasks to specific players, so not everyone did as they pleased.
The trainer was responsible for each boxer.
I think that's pretty common, but I'm not exactly sure. But even if that's not the case, there are also situations where that's fine,
I definitely think that style exists.
It's not like I'm saying it's bad or anything, but it's just that I'm still boxing. That's all. Are there any trainers you're interested in? Is there anyone you have your eye on?
That's right. At this stage, I'm not sure if it's something I want to dedicate my life to. I haven't really thought that far ahead yet.
About it yet. Is it my own business or is it still my own business? Really?
But it's also the place where I work, really. If you keep those kinds of things in mind, do you think your future career will change? I mean, depending on what you want to leave behind, your choices might change, right?
Industry, right? Are you a promoter?
That's right. Even if you start out as a promoter, you have to figure out what you're going to do. In Japan, the world.
To the world.
I was born and raised in Japan, but I can speak Portuguese as well as some Spanish and English, allowing me to express myself to the world.
In the process.
There are still things I can do, or maybe not. Something I realized after retiring.
That's right.
Having those kinds of thoughts can be tough, though.
At work.
Since you can't see the match between this player and that player just by looking at the fans, it's pretty hard work to put it simply in words.
The players also say things like this, but it depends on the player. Are they really just saying it? Or do they actually mean that the conditions don't match for them?
I probably shouldn't say that, but isn't that right? If you feel like there are only about 12 people at a big event, it can be tough. But since I'm often in the main event at Saiku Fight, I try to make Saiku Fight interesting too.
That's right. My boss, Yukita Koki, is also close by.
Right nearby.
He always encourages me.
The music is mixed together. What do you think about that?
That's right. Yeah, previously, after the finals, it changed to a rap battle, and even though it became a boxing rap battle, for those who just want to see boxing, it's actually the opposite. It's just rap. I think there are people who feel a bit resistant to mixing things up like this, whether they just want to see one or the other. But honestly, I think this kind of combination, mixing martial arts and hip-hop, has always existed, and it's not something that will change even overseas. So I actually think it's really great that we're able to blend these things together so well. There's something almost mystical about the blend of boxing and hip-hop. I think it's crucial to continue exploring and merging these two elements together. That's my current perspective.
That's right. Somehow it feels like it's becoming more of an entertainment show.
Boxing, I think it's also important not to make it too flashy. That's just my personal opinion.
And I think martial arts fans want to see real martial arts, and that's probably what they'd say. But I also think that even if you're not a hardcore fan, if you can create a show that people can enjoy, that's great too.
That's right. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just about friendship and things like that.
Yeah, that's really all there is to it.
I see. The lighting is also beautiful.
Well, it's not just a rehearsal. You can see it as an entertainment show. So I think there are probably people who are thinking, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people watch it.
Is that so? Is it interesting? I knew it.
I really like it. It's one of my favorites. It's one of the contents I enjoy.
Yes. I think the way it's filmed and the promotional power are amazing.
Back when I was in elementary and middle school, I remember being really drawn in by those kinds of promotional videos.
That's right. Exactly.
Boxing in Japan, if we keep working harder and harder, I wonder if boxing itself will get better.
Well, that's just my perspective from the outside, but I do feel like things are changing a bit, and I think everyone is putting in more effort.
Yuniko and others, are taking up boxing and raising its profile. I wonder what it is really. Just a little bit.
Fans are into boxing. Fans really love boxing.
Whether they really love it or if it's just that their love for boxing is so strong, well, that's fine. But I think there are also people who are just saying that, so I feel like it might be changing a bit.
Recently.
Kuria Raketa, a pro boxer, recently had a sparring match at Korakuen Hall without an audience, which is unfortunate. I recently visited a small boxing equipment factory after a long time and was surprised by what I saw. There were less than 30 people.
That's what I thought.
And there were probably a lot of women, too.
Popo?
Yeah, there are a lot of people like Popo. That's the feeling I get. Or rather, that's how it seems. Everyone is taking notes and stuff. It's the structure of the round or something like that. Maybe there are more otaku fans or maybe there are more Oji-san fans.
There are many.
I mean, that's good in its own way, but from now on, I want to be a little more conscious of attracting younger fans.
It feels endless, right?
Especially in today's Japan.
It's being said that there's a declining birth rate, right?
That's right.
Entertainment.
It's really simple, but when the rehearsal ends, the music suddenly starts playing.
But that alone makes it feel like a real show.
Boxing is over. The scene is like kan.
Like today's rise, even with just one.
Even in small-scale events or small venues, I think that kind of thing is happening. So I believe that even with small details like that, you can create an entertaining atmosphere. That's just my personal opinion, though.
That's what I think.
That's why I want people to watch Psycho Fight. I want you to watch it with that in mind. Just watch it. That's good. That's what I think. So is it next month? I've heard that the title match between Anjurareo and Kameta Tomoki has already been decided, but I want to see and hear for myself how it actually is.
I don't really have any particular feelings about Tomoki-san, but I think he'll win. Since my first loss as a pro last year, I've been considering my future career path. Should I get back up and aim for something, or should I make being part of the team my goal? I've sparred with the team many times, but to get back up, I went to Gym Camera Tomoki-san's gym for training. At that time, I was watching closely how Tomoki-san prepared for his boxing, how he spent his days, and so on. I watched things like that up close. Even in the world of martial arts, there are all kinds of fighters.
I was connected with them.
While I thought I didn't know anything, seeing Tomoki-san's boxing style really impressed and inspired me. It was about his adaptability and approach to things, from what I saw. There aren't many people in Japan, or even in the world, like him. Among the careers I've seen, he was truly exceptional. I believe he has immense potential and possibilities. At times like that, doubts start to come up, don't they? That's what I think.
I just want to win as an individual. Maybe it's not that interesting, but that's how it is.
Think about what comes next.
Mr. Batamoku.
The winner will certainly rise to the top.
That's what I think too. Anjara Rayo is a strong player, isn't he? In that class, making Gerard Lopez look like that is really amazing. But he's not quite at the level of a top-tier featherweight yet, is he? And that maybe he's still on the rise.
Naoki Inoue.
Hand.
I think it's a level that attracts attention because it looks like he's got the upper hand, but still Jun Nakaya and Naoki Inoue are probably going to do it next year, but that's something I'd really like to see in a match. People might get mad, but honestly, I think he's at the level of a featherweight. The most successful pattern is Tomoki Kameda. I think there's no doubt about it, really. There's no mistake.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah, it's decided.
You know, before it's decided, I don't really want to see anyone or anything like that.
There are also voices saying things like, I don't need it, or I don't want it. I think once it's decided.
Once it's decided, I think everyone becomes number one.
That's right. My name is Kawada Power, but isn't my name a bit unusual?
His fighting style isn't flashy at all, but you can tell it's Kawada just by watching. Even if you just see him for a moment, you know it's Kawada.
Even if you don't really know much about Kawada, when you hear names like Masato Kawada or Naoya Inoue, people who don't even know them will say, "Oh, Kawada!" But with Kawada, it feels like he's become a topic of conversation in that way. In terms of popularity and attention, I think he's surpassed Nakaya, and I can say that with confidence.
There's not much difference, especially in terms of the title match.
If it were a unification bout, I think the excitement would be even greater, including the home boxing scene. That's just how it is. As for Inoue, his brand is...
That's right. It's actually been 3 years since I turned pro at the end of this month.
Yes.
Even during these 3 years, while studying what it means to be a pro, I was really struck by how many different sides there are to the Anchi of the Inada family.
I'm surprised. What is it really? Honestly, when I see those people who are always in the comment sections of boxing forums, always talking back, I really think these people are just obsessed with the Kameda family.
Just a little.
Even if I can understand it, even if Naoya Inoue is really interesting in front of the camera, people say things like, if Naoya Inoue fights Karl Darns, he'll win. Or if he fights Afadaliev, he'll win. Or if he fights Nick Ball, he'll win. Do you know that? Personally, I think it's interesting. I really do. He's short and fast. His power and toughness bring out Naoya Inoue's physical abilities even further. Oh, it's the first time I've considered him as a fighter personally, so the matchup is very intriguing.
That's right, definitely.
How do you see it, Chinami?
In my opinion, Inoue Senshu still has the advantage over Nick Ball and Oheni, regardless of whether it's beneficial or not. Match. That's what I thought after watching it. The interesting thing about this sport is that you never know what will happen until the day of the match, right? You never really know. The level of attention is really high, but we'll definitely win. I don't think it's a match we can lose. So I said it might be to our advantage, or maybe not. And then Inoue Senshu. I think Inoue has the advantage, but honestly, I think it's going to be a really interesting match, that's all.
That's the kind of match it's going to be. I think it will probably turn into a featherweight class debut, so that's something to watch out for. But what do you think? Can Inoue handle it even if he moves up to featherweight?
I believe his power will transfer to featherweight. Inoue won't have any issues at the new weight class. He's a real super featherweight, so he fights with a lot of frame and power, definitely. I thought that unless he changes various things, it will be impossible. I want to get Mr. Inoue's fans even more excited and pumped up. The way to fight in a pre-announced equal finish. If you want to stand out, is it better to show a stable, almost featherweight level performance? Or should you go for something more flashy? What do you think the audience wants to see? Yeah, I think you can win with a point-based style too, but that's probably something you'd express more in the ring, so I haven't really thought about it that much. Up to about featherweight.
I think that's probably the case. Up to featherweight, that is. If there's anyone who can do it, I think there's only one person.
Espinosa is really tall, you know.
Muna.
The characters are interesting, and it's the complete opposite of Nick Paul, but Masatsui Nonya is also interesting. And, well, he's not a champion, but he's a train guy.
Is interesting.
Bernardo Lopez, too. The Restoration War is also quite recent, so that makes Inoue interesting as well.
Probably.
And also, since there are more options and it's interesting, do you think it's because there are more options, or is it because you go up and then fall down like a super Bantan, like a Nakatani Jin? What do you think about going up and then falling down?
It was planned. If the physical preparation was all within the scope of the plan, then I think they just proceeded according to the plan.
Yeah.
I don't think it had such a big impact. Rather, performance went up and down. Ability isn't really the issue. It's more about how you work together. I think the most important thing is probably the planning. So, if you think you can do that many, then I don't think it's a problem, but only if it's within that framework.
Yes, yes. By the way, what do you think about that match? Nakaya Jin and Inoue Tadashi.
They're both really good, but Inoue Tadashi might have the edge. If Inoue Tadashi and Cheki-san fight, it would definitely go down as one of the most memorable matches in history. It would be really interesting and fun to watch.
I honestly haven't really thought about whether Sudochi has the advantage or not.
When this topic came up, in the boxing world, this topic doesn't really come up.
Is that so?
I'm not really into Nakaya, but people think I'm a fan of Nakaya the boxer.
That's right. It's interesting, isn't it?
If those two were to fight, I'd be rooting for Nakaya.
Is that because you like his style, or is there another reason?
That's right. It's just the style and the fact that I can only see his progress in highlights, not in real time, so maybe it's a little different from what I imagine. Between Inoue and Nakaya, when it comes to style, Nakaya doesn't seem to be as polished, but I get the sense that there's another side to him, so if I had to choose between the two, I'd go with Nakaya.
Well,
I think it's better to support the one you feel drawn to.
if you find it interesting, then it certainly is. Nothing wrong with that. How do you see it technically? While it may seem pessimistic, I believe the chances are slim. Naoya Inoue will likely emerge victorious. So Junto Nakaya will win. What do you think about the pattern or how the fight will go?
The most impressive image I have is when Wakame was knocked down by Neri. I thought Wakame might go down, so for Junto Nakaya, it's all about the timing of the punch and the exchange of punches. Only a highly skilled fighter can land that kind of punch. After thoroughly studying Inoue's fighting style, he managed to land punches in between Inoue's own punches.
Sakiga!
If Ichiban Nakaya wins.
That's right, so please keep that in mind.
If he doesn't do that, that's how it will be.
As expected, Naosu Inoue was chosen.
He had total skill. When you quantify it, Inoue's skills are higher.
Even if you think you have the skills, there's always a chance, if you ask me.
I think there is. That's what makes boxing interesting, isn't it? It's that one moment. Being faster, more powerful, or having better technique doesn't guarantee victory. In the end, it's whoever is stronger on that day. That's fine. Maybe it's because I was conscious of the match. If you keep piling up things like that, if you can't build on that, then Nakatani can't. Holding on to that every day just won't work. That's what I think.
You never know what will happen until you try.
I beat Nakaya and Nishida in that sense, but it doesn't mean I can always win. Planning too far ahead doesn't work. Nishida is strong too, right?
I think he's really strong.
I believe Inoue is a strong featherweight, not just a nick ball. Alpha Darif is also formidable, so overplanning the outcome won't work. But Nishida champion and Nakaya champion, Nakaya is Nakaya, correct?
That's right. I expect Nakaya to win, but Nishida is also a really strong fighter. That's what I think. This match is interesting too. It feels like Inoue Nakaya is enjoying himself even more.
That person is maybe just a little, or maybe not at all.
If you watch it, you'll find it's a really interesting match, so I want everyone to check it out. It's just one of the matches, but...
That's right. It seems like Boxing Pen would really enjoy a match like that.
Nishida is also a straightforward and likable fighter, but if he wins, it seems like it would actually be a tough situation. I don't mean to say that in a bad way, but in the boxing world, it could cause some trouble, you know? Bok.
Yeah, it would really cause trouble in the boxing world, wouldn't it?
Following Nakata's victory, Nishida, Basu, and Inoue have risen in prominence. It's not really that kind of sport, is it? Isn't it a bit different?
On the other hand, it feels like Nakata and the others are just barely managing to beat Inoue. So you get the sense that anything could happen. That's what makes it interesting at the bantamweight level, don't you think?
I've said it before, but I genuinely believe Japan is the world's best in the lighter weight classes, including bantamweight.
Please.
The way the lighter weight class fighters are active on the world stage is really amazing.
Right now, all the Japanese champions are in the lighter weight classes, and since Takei and Izumi have been rising as Twitter sensations, it's become a really interesting scene. But it seems like Takei is being set up as the one Tenjin will face next, and they're making it look like that's the biggest match. But honestly, I don't really think that's the case.
There might be a story here. He's an up-and-coming kickboxer. Is he improving, or has he simply changed his approach? Even in an era where kickboxing isn't that popular, it's not like there's some huge rivalry going on. That's not really the case. Honestly, I think it would be more interesting if Tenjin was the one chasing after the title. Personally, I'd rather see him as the challenger.
Taki's side.
I'm the same way.
So, for example, if Tenshin and Takei were to fight each other, even if one of them had an advantage, I think Tenshin would win. To be honest,
That's right. It's not just about scoring points, but rather with the number of clean hits landed. That's a lot. It was a punch jab, and the total number of landed punches was higher for Tenshin, so he won on points, right?
that's my view. As for my preferred style, I definitely favor Takei's. How about you?
Still, the boxing of these two people is
amazing.
I think it's really cool. I totally prefer Dokshi.
I'm not really sure. It's not like I have a particular preference. I just look at what I like, but it's not that I have a specific style I prefer or anything like that.
That's right. Even among the top weight classes, I'm one of the smaller fighters, so you could say I'm kind of a representative of that group. Mike Tyson is a fighter I thought was really amazing, but at the same time, Roy Jones Jr. is about the same height as me, around 5 feet and 11 inches. So he wasn't really in the heavyweight division, but he moved up from the middleweight class, kept climbing the ranks, and even boxed in the heavier divisions. So even though their styles are different, since we're about the same height, I really like both of them.
He's a fighter who seems to have a really sharp sense of speed.
That's right. You know, when a fighter has speed, I feel like I can relate to them. You know, I think, yeah, that's something I have too. You know, it's that sense of speed and being a bit smaller, I guess.
Well, I wouldn't go as far as to say I like K-A-S-H-I-M-E-R-O, though. Well, when you talk about fighters like that, I think K-A-S-H-I-M-E-R-O is definitely a unique case. He has his own style, too. He might not be everyone's favorite, but he's definitely something else. There have been a few issues, right? I know there have been some problems, but as for boxing, I personally think it's fine. I really do. From the start, there really isn't much of a gap.
I don't really see any heavyweight class fighters in Japan. Aside from Mr. Mino, I don't know anyone else. I suppose there aren't many fighters available.
That's right. But lately it seems like the number is gradually increasing, so I hope it keeps growing.
Well, yeah.
But first, that's a C-class player. Pros can't fight in A or C, so the rounds don't change. There are several players in the C-class and above, so currently there isn't anyone who has fought more than 8 times.
So, that's right.
Well, it was Tournament Ramino.
Well, it's just that I'm doing tournaments, but...
What kind of tournament is it? Are we really going to gather 16 people? 16 people?
I really want to gather them all together, so...
Yeah.
It's a tournament. The first match is... The event is on May 17th at Koshien Hall. I'm excited about it.
Watching Hebekyu at Koshien Hall is really interesting, isn't it? I'm not entirely sure, but I think the winner of this tournament gets the belt that was brought back from the Japanese champion.
I don't believe that has been clearly expressed yet.
Since it's a 4-man tournament, the winner is...
Until someone wins.
If you lack the required match count based on the rules, reaching Class A will be impossible, so...
I see. 4 wins in Class C.
So if you don't win twice in each class, you can't reach Class A.
That's how it is.
In the middle of the tournament, as things heat up, I think it's possible that the title match could start to feel more like a decisive battle.
If that breaks through,
it's important to see who will break through.
I think that's really important. And for Japan to become the champion in the second match, it's quite rare for Japan to become the champion, isn't it? That's right.
Since the opponent was also from within the country, C made an exception and allowed it, so we ended up having a match between the national champion and the challenger.
Shinami, what were you thinking at the moment you became the champion?
That's right. First, I wanted to show that I was the strongest in the country. It's a belt called the Japan Champion. I believe I've been the strongest heavyweight since Amachua's days. I have the responsibility and confidence to state that. Since I was sparring. First, I have to prove that, and if I don't, I can't say anything. Even in the world of professionals, I can't say anything unless I prove it. In my mind, I was still a debutant, and I didn't really understand the fear of being a professional.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't know anything. Since it was a match in that situation, I just did my best to face it head on, even if I was clumsy. That's how it was.
With that in mind,
I did it.
Undefeated in 10 battles, my courtesy made me a rookie star.
I thought I was going to win, but honestly, it just felt like my opponent was really strong. That's how I felt about the match.
Yeah. My opponent was stronger than me that day, that's for sure. I was still too naive, too soft. You're right. I think that's actually a really good way to look at it. This project was very different from Machua, which made the trial and error process painful for me. However, it turned into a great learning experience.
Training afterwards.
Or
like life and things that have changed and so on.
Or something like that, I guess. That's how it is. From there, that's the most important thing in a professional career. My life and the way things move around me have changed. But up until then, I was always training alone. Now, for the first time in my career, I'm trying new things, like working with a personal trainer. That sense of responsibility is what got me started.
Yeah. Did you ever think about changing your boxing style or taking responsibility and making changes like that?
That's right. In that match, I was also really scared of getting hit even once.
And
that's right. I couldn't just go down. And that fear of going down affected my performance in that match.
Situation.
For example, I broke my nose, but it was a punch that knocked me down that caused the fracture, and my vision became blurry or clouded.
Iron.
No. In the match, I was caught between being in perfect condition and being in a changing state, so I couldn't really imagine it until now. And I ended up in a match where I could do that. I broke my nose and couldn't breathe through it, so I was in all sorts of trouble, and I was able to experience what it's like when trouble just keeps piling up. That was actually a really good experience for me.
Was that your first time going down, or was it your first time as a pro? What were you thinking at that moment?
Yeah, that's right. I was just thinking, I have to get up. Yeah, the first thing that came to my mind was, I have to get up. I couldn't make use of those 10 seconds. I think there are times when you try to recover from damage or do things in a clumsy way, but at that moment, I wasn't thinking about training or anything like that. I just stood up purely on instinct, and in an instant, I was up, bounced back, and stood. But after the match, my knees gave out, and when I tried to get up, I realized how exhausted I was, and my knees just buckled.
Get it.
I just remember thinking it was over in an instant, but right after that, I don't really remember anything. Even after the second round, I don't have any memories of what happened. There are images that look like photos taken at the scene, but I don't really have any memories of them, so...
It really feels like everything is completely blank. It's like I'm watching it from the control room or something.
That's right. I remember the control room in various places only as images, like snapshots, and the timing of getting into the ambulance is just barely there in my memory.
Is that because of brain damage? I think adrenaline also plays a part, especially since it happened during practice.
Yeah, I think the main reason is the damage. In this industry, people who can't make a clean break and quit end up dying. Trying to quit the industry was honestly painful, and I really felt just how weak I was myself. On the way to the hospital in the ambulance, I could feel my own pulse dropping, and I was aware of it myself. I was able to experience firsthand what it's like when something dangerous is happening to my own body, to myself.
That's right. Dangerous sports can be interesting to watch because you wonder what might happen, but that's not really a good thing.
Honestly, for the heavyweights,
if you get hit even once and go down, that's it.
If you can't get back up or you just keep falling, you'll end up taking unnecessary damage.
That's right. In that match, some people around me said it would have been better if I just stayed down, but instead I kept getting up and fighting from round 2 to round 8. There were also a lot of people who watched me keep fighting with that mindset and were moved by it. I don't have any regrets, though.
But still.
I just remember that I was desperately trying.
There are also matches like that, so there are people who respond even more.
I think so too. There are also people who are really perfectionists. For example, things like innocence or mischief.
Even though they seem so innocent, I actually think they're pretty strong. I wonder if ordinary people just can't really understand, or maybe it's that ordinary people just give up and lose.
Okay.
You know, when they see someone who seems to be trying hard or pushing themselves, they feel like they can relate to that.
Or they understand. Maybe it's because they feel like I'm doing my best too, so they end up liking someone who has that kind of attitude. It's a personal preference. Paki and I are similar, but Mei-Mei-san is the better boxer. However, I'm more loved by fans.
It's like I'm Baki-am or something.
That's right. I'm looking forward to it from now on. I'm not fighting at a heavy level yet, but I'm aiming to eventually reach the cruiser class, and it's also fun to see how things might change as I fall and progress. What motivates me to keep boxing is, well, honestly, I started out just for fun, and it's not like it's a dangerous sport, so I'm not sure why I'm doing it anymore. It's hard to explain.
That's a tough question, though.
That's right, but still, I guess so. The main reason is that I like it, so I do this fight sport because I like it. Not limited to boxing. My hobbies are also martial arts, so I'm kick at boxing, including everything. Every day, I'm living a life that's always connected to martial arts, so that's what I like the most. Well, simply as a man, I want to be strong, and I don't want to lose. Is that your goal, or do you want to be world champion? Yes, that's right. Of course, I want to be world champion, and Japan still has a long way to go. I think there are fewer people aiming for the heavyweight division compared to the lighter weight classes.
Yeah.
When I become the world champion, I've been trying to revitalize the heavyweight division, and I want to see Japanese heavyweights active on the world stage 10 or 20 years from now. I don't want to be the only one people talk about. If in that era I can be like a pioneer and help make the heavyweight division in boxing more popular and raise its level, then...
I'm excited for what's next. Thank you. I want to keep shining as an 8-man project, and I hope for your continued support. I may not analyze things perfectly, but please keep cheering me on.
Thank you very much, Mitsuo.
The final showdown begins.
I saw it. It's like a combination that appears in a movie.
That's right, like Tyson or Roy Jones or even Handspeed. The way they fight is amazing, isn't it?
Sorry, I forgot.
A Harafan project that has been organized. The Harafan project.
I know it's bad to say that I want to be spoiled a little, but is it okay if I do? Sorry. It's not that I fell, and it's not that I was hit either, so why?
If I had to guess, 10 million yen.
Is this for real?
That's really reassuring coming from Mr. Uki.
I'm nervous, but when you said my left side is lucky, I started to believe the opposite. I want to accept it, but I'm conflicted.
Just a little, because I powered up. If you only hit from one side, it's no good if you can't hit back.
Is this really okay?
Thank you very much. The first time I serve...
I'm scared.
10%
At first with... Is it okay here?
It's okay. You can come in lightly at 10%.
10% is fine. All right, 20.
Thank you. You can do it if you put your mind to it.
Jaw 50. Thank you, I'll do my best.
Are you okay?
I can go one more time.
But it's really hard, isn't it?
I think I'm straining my muscles a bit.
Just a little bit more.
Mokuchou ikimasu. Yeah.
Yeah.
It still stings, doesn't it? Really?
Well, even if things are turned upside down, I don't feel any compassion inside.
But if I keep thinking about this, I feel like I'll die.
Ronan.
And the globe is also small. Even if you think you might die from a magic spell or get cursed, it's good to have that experience.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
If you go in with strong feelings, it's pretty tough, especially
That body language, when you don't anticipate the timing, is the most effective. Even when you're selling something, that's what really matters.
Absolutely, that's what it is.
Even if Yoshio runs, he probably stays calm. I think even if he sprints, he probably won't get too excited.
Thank you very much.